Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let's start our session by reciting Ummul Kitab Al-Fatihah. Okay, again, before we proceed with our next chapter, which is we have covered this in the morning session. Okay, for the chapter number 7. Okay, so before that, I would like to remind again, please add your group member into iTa'alim. Okay, if there are some missing group or missing group members, please add them into your group or add your group members by today, because I need to give the list to tutor. She need to handle the case study. Okay, so based on the record, there are 16 more students missing from section number 1, 2, and section number 3. Okay, and the group member should be within the section, right? You cannot cross the section, right? Okay, there are some questions this morning. We got that. Okay. Okay. Some said your laptop has problem. Okay, so please fix that. Okay. If you need to work, then you might need to borrow your friend, right, to solve your problem. Okay. Any other question before we proceed with our next chapter, which is going to be covered very fast because you can view in this morning session. Okay. Any question regarding your group case study? Okay, so this group, you're going to stay with them until the end of the semester. So after the case study, you need to do your final project. Okay, final project, which is going to be your final assessment as well. Okay, no problem. Some said no problem, so we can proceed. Okay. Okay. So before we proceed, last week we have covered chapter number 6, right? Let's have some short review or recall before we proceed with this chapter. Anyone remember what we have covered in the previous chapter? Can answer here. What we have covered last week in the previous chapter number 6. Anyone? You can type here or you can open your mic and answer. Anyone? Are you with me? JSP theory. We have covered JSP. Yes, we have covered JSP. We have covered about JSP. It's not theory, the overview of JSP, right? Advantage of JSP. Okay. Okay. Good. What is different between JSP and servlet? Right? One more question. What's the difference between JSP and servlet? JSP is a dynamic web page. JSP is client server. Are you sure? Client server. Yes. Dynamic. So servlet is not dynamic. Did you answer this one? Means servlet is not dynamic? Yeah, JSP is dynamic. Now, what is the difference between servlet? JSP is easy to modify. Yes, it's easy to modify because after you modify, you does not need to compile, recompile, right? Before you can run. What is the difference between JSP and servlet? Before we proceed. JSP can only accept HTTP requests. Yes, somehow. Okay. Okay, good. Since you still remember what we have covered in the previous chapter. Okay, for the next chapter, right? As I mentioned in the there are some answer. JSP is in line Java with HTML. Servlet is in line HTML with Java. Okay, okay, I got your answer. I think JSP is most of the code are HTML, right? So you embed the Java code. But for the servlet, most of the code are Java, but you embed HTML inside the Java. Okay. Servlet run faster than JSP. Okay. Okay. Next. Again, as we have touched some on chapter number 6 regarding JSP. Okay, so in this chapter, we're going to cover into detail for JSP, which is JSP scriptlet element. Okay, what we're going to cover is static versus dynamic, right? The simple term. I think most of you know this. And next, invoking Java code from JSP page. Remember what is the invoke? Anyone knows what is invoke? You have learned OOP before, right? Okay. What's invoke? What's invoke mean? Anyone can answer? What's invoke? What's invoke? This one. Invoking Java code from JSP page. You still remember? You have learned OOP before, right? So we use term invoking as well.
To call Java code.
Yes, to call Java code, to call, right? Invoking means call. So we have declare the method, then we want to call that method. We call invoking. Thank you for answer. Okay, next we're going to cover JSP expression, how to do the expression in JSP. Okay. Next is scriptlet and conditional text. Okay, how to do the scriptlet. And lastly, how to make declaration in JSP. Okay. First, static versus dynamic. Okay, as you know, HTML is static, right? Which is just to show you some information. However, JSP is dynamic because why JSP is dynamic? Any answer? Why servlet is dynamic? Right? Any answer? Why is dynamic? Why JSP are dynamic? JSP code are dynamic. Any answer? What's dynamic? What's dynamic mean?
It means to be able to embed with anything, any other forms of writing. Is that it?
Embed with any form of
Like HTML, CSS, and so on. Any other programming languages.
somehow not totally the answer that I'm looking for. Any other answer? Any answer from others? What's dynamic? Dynamic means it can accept the input, right? And it can process the input and it can provide the output to you, right? That means it can interact with you, right? Static means it cannot interact, right? It just will. Okay, that means dynamic. That's why most of the system can interact. You can log in, right? You can log in, and when you, for example, Facebook, after you have login, you can post, you can view, you can upload, right? Then you can view, right? You can interact, you can do something that is dynamic. So the system is dynamically changed based on what you have done or based on what you respond to the system. Okay, that mean by dynamic, right? Okay. Any question on that? I think most of you are knowing that. Okay, next. Okay, again, in JSP, what are we going to cover into detail in this chapter? Scriptlet type. Okay, this is the scriptlet type. You have this type. Okay, this is the open and close type. Second one, we're going to cover expression, JSP expression. Okay, you open this type and put equal here. If you have this symbol, mean this is expression, and you close the type. Okay, for declaration, you open the type. Okay, then you have this symbol, right? Not the question mark, this symbol, and it means declaration, right? The compiler see this is a declaration. Okay, we're going to cover into detail for this, right? Okay, next, invoking Java code from JSP page. Right? There are a few ways to call the Java code. Okay, by using JSP page. Okay, first one, call Java code directly. Okay, we call Java code directly. All Java code are placed inside JSP page. For example, you have your JSP page and all of your Java code, you just embed inside that JSP. Okay, so it invokes directly. So that this one we call Java code directly, right? Similar to your JavaScript, right? You put in line. Okay, only appropriate for a very small amount of code. So if you have small system, right, you can use this method. If you're working in the future, if you're working in the big company, you should not do this because you have thousands of lines of code. It will be very difficult for you to debug, to find where to change. Okay, so if you working in the big company, you should use the next method, call Java code indirectly. Mean you create utility class separately, different file, then you call that file. So in the future, if you want to change that function or that method, you can go directly to that file. You does not need to scroll down to find where is the method you have stored, right? Okay. And next, you can call or invoke by using bin, use bin, which we're going to cover in chapter number 10 in detail, right? No worry about this. So normally we have this type. JSP, use bin, right? Okay, any question on this? How to invoke? There are two main, okay, three. The third one is we're going to cover later on. Any question on invoking? No? Okay. Okay, some say no. Okay, next, you can use MVC, right? So this MVC architecture, normally we used to call or combine all the Java code to work together, right? Which is will be covered in chapter number 12. So in your final project, you need to use MVC architecture to combine your servlet, your JSP, and your bin to work together. Mean you might have some code written in servlet and you want to call from JSP, right? Your JSP also might need to use some services in bin, right? Okay, so in order to do that, you need to use MVC, which we're going to cover in detail in chapter number 12. And your final project, you need to use this MVC. Right? For your case study, you can use only servlet. Okay? Any question? No? Right? Okay, good. Okay, next, we will be going to detail for these three main things: expression, scriptlet, and declaration, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, this is the type. Again, this is the type. For expression, you need to have this. Scriptlet, right? You just have to have this type. And declaration, you need to have this symbol, right? You know declaration, right? Before we use anything, we need to declare. Before we need to display X, we need to declare X. Before we need to use the method X, we need to declare the methods X, right? Okay. Expression is any expression that you need to assign. For example, X equal to 1, X equal to A, any assigning, normally we use expression. Or calculation, use expression. Okay, for the scriptlet, it's a general code. You have a lot of code, you put all in the scriptlet type for them to work. Okay, we're going to cover in detail one by one. Okay, for example, the expression. Okay, what's the purpose of the JSP expression? It used to insert value directly into the output. Right, it's a assign. You assign directly. Right, for this one, it assign the term. You want to display the term directly. Okay. For example, I will open the. Okay, for example, you have JSP test 1, welcome to JSP, and test 2, then to display the date and time. Okay. And there are some predefined variable that you can use in the expression. Okay. Request. Okay. HTTP servlet request. You have used this before. Respond. You know, predefined variable, right? Mean the variable, the existing variable you can use. Okay. And session, HTTP session. Okay. HTTP session. Okay. Any question on the expression? Any question? I need to minimize to see if some of you have answered any question. If I open the full screen, I will not be able to see. I hope you can see this. Okay, any question? No? Good. Okay, next, scriptlet. Scriptlet text. Okay, usable for more complex tasks. If you have more complicated tasks to do, right? Not just to assign the variable, then you need to use the scriptlet. Okay, so output can be mixed between scriptlet and expression. So the output you can mix. Right? We have some example after this. You can mix between scriptlet and expression. Okay, to perform. Okay, and for example, this is a pure scriptlet text. Okay, you have open text and then you have closed text here. So inside this, you have string, query, data. Equal here, it does not mean expression. To be expression, equal need to be here, right? Okay. Okay. So this one to display the query, right? This one to display this query. For example, this query from others variable. I mean, it's more complicated than you just display the date. Then you need scriptlet. Okay. You also can mix, okay, mix between scriptlet and expression. For example, you have scriptlet here, okay, and then you have the expression here, right? So query will be equal to this, right? So this is expression, and this is a scriptlet. Okay. Any question? Any question? So for this full slide, you can download from iTa'lim. Okay, and in iTa'lim, I also have uploaded the book, the ebook for each chapter. For example, for the JSP, right? JSP for this chapter, you can read this ebook, right? Okay, which is I've shown you this version of this book, right? And it has divided chapter by chapter. Okay, for the scriptlet, I have uploaded, okay, in this section for the ebook. You can read into detail, and there are some more example how to use the predefined. Okay, I hope you have time to read that. Okay, any question so far? Any questions so far? Any question so far? Okay, for the practical part or some real example, I will try to make a short video. I will record a short video and to show you some real example, because if I'm show here, it will be very difficult because I have opened a lot of things, right? Okay, so it's just better to record with a short example for you to see. Any question so far? 16 of you. Any question? Are you here with me? You listen to me? Right? No answer. Okay, no question. Okay, good. Okay, so I hope if you're missing some part, you can view it back again in the YouTube, which I will upload later on. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, we have a few more slides. Next, declaration. Again, before you use any variable, or any method, you need to declare, right? Same theory to any programming language. In OP, in PHP, or in C, before you use, you need to declare. Okay, so in JSP, to declare any method or any variable, okay, you need to use special tag to declare. Okay, for example, okay, define method of, okay, this one to define the method of field. Okay, for example here, I maximize the screen. You see, it's not. Okay, for example, you have this JSP file and you have this HTML file. Okay, and in the body you put you embed your Java code. Okay, the first code is, what is this? What is the first code? What is the first code? Any answer? Any answer? Sorry, I cannot maximize. Okay, what's the first code? What is the first code? This code is declaration, right? We declare integer a equal to 10, right? And then the next line of code, what is this? This is a JSP scriptlet, right? So you need to use all those tags, right, to make it working together, right? Okay, so you have open tags and close tag here. Out.println line, so you want to display the value of a is plus a, right? Mean 10 plus 1, so it will be displayed 11, right? As simple as that. Okay, you can try this, right? This is simple enough. Some of you might ask where to put the tags. Yeah, you need to put at the time you want to use, right? So for example, you need to declare a or put the declaration here because you want to display here, right? You should not put somewhere else which you might forget where you have declared. So it's better to declare here, okay? And you want to do something here. But if you put the text before the declaration, you want to display a before you declare a, of course, it will show you some error. This is the basic of the programming language. Any question? Any question? Are you going to have some more class after at 3:30? Any question? Okay, some said yes, they have a class after this. No question, some said no question. Okay, good. So let's conclude, right? Okay, let's conclude this chapter in a very short, right? What you need to know in the scriptlet element is 3 main tags. The first tag is JSP expression. Second tag is JSP scriptlet. And the third one is JSP declaration in chapter number 7. Right? These 3 main things that you need to know. Okay, for example, expression, right? Expression, you need to assign, okay, the string into hello world. Okay, for example, with this one, for JSP scriptlet, you need more complicated tasks to be done, right? For example, you need a for loop, right? Then you open this tag and close this tag, and you put your looping here, right? Inside this tag, mean more complicated tasks to be done. Then you need scriptlet. Okay, for declaration, right? For example, you want to declare the cube, method, right, with some parameter and return n multiply n. This is the method will be displayed. So cube of 3 will be 3 multiply 3 multiply 3, right? You put 3 here, right? You put 3 here, 3 multiply 3, and it will return 3 here. So that's declaration. So whenever you call this method, it will multiply what any parameter you want to execute in this method. Okay, that's declaration. Right? Declaration means you want to declare any variable, want to declare any method, you need to use this declaration. But declaration, the code will not execute. It will execute when you invoke, when you call. Right? How to call? We have covered a few ways, okay, to invoke the method in the previous section. Okay, so we are almost 30 minutes now, or more than 30 minutes, right? So we should not exceed the guideline. That should not be more than 30 minutes. Okay, finally, any question? Any question? Any question? No question. Alhamdulillah. So far so good. You are learning something? Alhamdulillah, very good. Is it very difficult to learn by using this medium rather than face to face? Yes, very difficult because right, some question might not be answered. It's quite difficult, sir. Yes, I understand that. But inshallah, when you have normalized with this way, you will be able to learn anything in the future, right? That's the advantage of you. And in the futures, believe me, you need to learn a lot by yourself. What we have covered maybe 10% from the knowledge of JSP or from the Java. 90% more you need to explore. Or in the future, you want to explore Python, Ruby, ARM programming, right? So when you know how to learn visually, which available a lot of resources, okay, you will be very good and you will be success in the future. Okay. Any question? No question? Okay. No question? I will stop the presenting. Okay. Can you open your camera for some short recording? Make sure that you all are here before we end our session. Okay. So you are here, some inside IUM. Okay, some at home. How about others? Okay, some at home with a lot of chairs. Okay, some in room. What others? Some in room. We have 16% here. Okay. Okay, thank you very much for joining the session. So we end our session by reciting Tasbih Kifarah and Surah Al-As.